Good morning to you wherever you're watching us from. Welcome to Behind the News on the Nation newspaper, where we discuss and we analyze all the films in our national dailies. And you know how we do it. I'm not here alone, even if my name is David Bolarinwa. I'm here with my in-house analyst, our delectable, our own, Mr. Adeyinka Aderibigbe. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, thank you, David. Good morning, all our viewers from wherever you are watching. It's a top of the morning to you. Have a pleasant time. Even as we keep it together this morning, looking at our country and news that is breaking or emanating at this hour. Thank you, and please keep watching us.
A bright and sunny Tuesday we have here. We've got a lot kicking in our national dailies. First off, the Nation newspaper, where we have a major headline saying PDP knocks out Saraki, Bala from 2027 presidential race. And the windows, we have Tunji-Ojo, Ezekwesili differ on president's economic reforms. We also have MAN, which is standing for Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, 6, suspension of customs 4% FOB charge. And lastly, we have Ojulari, oil theft through pipeline bust hosted. And going on to the Punch newspaper, where we have the major headline saying Makinde orders to fight for PDP tickets. In the windows, we have 13% derivation fund eases oil producing states debt by 611 billion naira. We also have Nan's vow critical assets shut down over ASU strike threat. Lastly, we have external reserves projected to reach $45 billion by year end. That's coming from Wale Edon. And lastly, we have the New Telegraph, where the major headline here is saying, unlike in 2023, PDP zones presidency to South, confirms Damagun as national chair. And on the windows, we have CBN bullish on recapitalization of Union, Polaris, Keystone banks. We head straight to the Nation newspaper, where we have a headline saying PDP knocks out Saraki, Bala from 2027 presidential race. Taking it from the lead, we have yesterday's zoning of the presidential tickets to the South has effectively ended the ambition of former Senate President, I beg your pardon, Bukola Saraki, and Bauchi State Governor Bala Mohammed on the People's Democratic Party platform, which we all know that as of yesterday, the National Congress they have, the NEC meeting they had, they zoned their presidential tickets to the South, and which somewhat died down the tussle they've been having for a number of months now. Mr. Aderibigbe, we followed through on this program many of the tussles they've had, from the national crisis to the in-house deliberations on where to zone, and is zoning even the right position for them to take. First off, we already know they have a settled agreement on zoning the presidential tickets to the South. What's your take on that first?
Yeah, well, just like you said, the PDP have not disappointed Nigerians because we kind of know the predominant interest of the party since 2023. You know how they have been jostling to have the ticket zoned to the South, and how that decision or power tussle and struggle had led to what eventually became a testy thing for PDP, and ultimately costing them the 2023 presidential election and the aftermath of it, which has made major power blocks in the party to even ditch the party and go elsewhere. So to the remnant of people still in the PDP, it is not something that took Nigerians by surprise the way the NEC meeting went yesterday, pushing for a southern president, which means effectively that the North has been knocked away of any consideration by the party. And for me, or for Nigerians, especially those of us who are not politicians, we can only watch on the sidelines what will happen and what is happening, and what will the 2027 election bring to the table. Because ultimately, we can project from what is on ground at the moment that party is too fragmented to have any impact in 2027. So you can as well go to sleep if PDP is the so-called main opposition voice in Nigeria. I think APC can just go to sleep. That election, even if we still record voter apathy, the very few that will come out, we can project what the result will be. Because even when the party has not, or the president, current president, has not been given the mandate, you saw what he pulled. Not now that he now has the mandate of the Nigerian voter behind him. It will be a massive routing for opposition parties, because sincerely, Nigerians do not see the political worth of a Goodluck Jonathan at this time. We do not see the political worth of a Seyi Makinde, governor Oyo at this time. We do not see anybody in the south that can match President Bola Tinubu in terms of his political reach, in terms of his political networks, in terms of his networks as a person. So I do not, and Nigerians really do not see anyone from the south for now. In terms of name recognition for the south and from the south, I think the only person that can give the current president a really tough time will be Peter Obi. And that is on the strength of the fact that Nigerian political geography is such that the youths are more than 65% of the voter population. And the youths, as we speak, have their preference in the scheme of things. But whether Obi will go back to PDP or stay with the fragments of coalitions or stay in Labour Party is yet to be seen. And I want to believe that that decision or that position might be strategic, to continue to keep the APC, to keep them wondering where he is. It might be strategic. So maybe as we move further into the circle proper, as maybe we close up on 2025 and we are getting into 2026, we begin to see more clearly where Peter Obi will be. But as it is today, the PDP as a political party do not have the same structure that they have had in the last couple of years, leading from 1999 to date. I dare say they were the only legacy party remaining. You know, PDP, AD, and the other one, ANP, you know. But right now, while the other two have fused up and been phased out, PDP had remained. But it's also, as we see today, also on its way to the gutters. Let's just put it like that.
You in a way already answered a few of my line of questions. So I was about asking what would be the hope of you know, the aspiring Southern presidential candidates, to put it in that way, where we know we have a number of them. We know the PDP is trying to woo in former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. The PDP is also trying to woo in, just as you mentioned, Peter Obi. And here in the southern part, or southwestern part, we have, not so, he has not fully come out to declare himself as wanting to go into the presidential candidacy, but I mean, he has even come out to say that is not his plan, or that is not his immediate plan. I'm talking about Governor Seyi Makinde. But some way, somehow, in the caucus of the PDP, they know he's in the race for the presidential ticket. What would you say is the fate of PDP going into 2027? I know they will be having another convention in Ibadan that's come November, and that's where they will probably decide who exactly is going to be the presidential candidate. What do you think is going to be their fate? Because first off, we know the whole lot of issues they've had has dwindled their opportunities in having a fierce rivalry against the sitting APC government at the moment. Well,
maybe what we want me to do is to analyze the character traits of each of these candidates that have been thrown up. But I want to say that it will be too hasty for the party. I think what they want to do in November is to settle all doubt about their national officers. It will be too hasty for the party to decide on candidates, especially presidential candidates, in 2025 for an election that will come in February 2027. You know, you will just have made him a late dog because with such decision taking, you have just opened him up to attacks, and you leave the ruling party with no choice but to dig deep into such a candidate, bring out his past, and then, you know, tarnish him in the eye of the people. So I doubt whether they will come up that early. Violence. That was a man. That was a man who told Nigerians that his ambition is not worth the price of the blood of any Nigerian. That was a man who, despite the fact that he appointed the election, the Independent National Electoral Commission chairman and other national officers, and had the power at the time to remove them or declare the result inconclusive and order another one, he chose not to, you know, and walked away. I do not see that kind of a man changing his words by midnight to say, okay, so I want to give it all that it will take this time. I want to also have my own second term shot. I do not see a Goodluck Jonathan doing that. Again, presidents in Nigeria, he was the first person to congratulate President Bola Tinubu, as he was then as an elected designate president at the time. He not only sent in a congratulatory message. He was there the second day that he was announced to show him his total loyalty, you know. So, and of course, Goodluck Jonathan has benefited largely from the APC administration, even from that of the late Muhammadu Buhari, you know, who appointed him as the ambassador of peace, ambassador at large, going on special delegations to especially African nations, monitoring the electoral processes and all that. So whether we want to give the ambition the shots that could make any difference. For a person like Sheyi Makinde, the only thing, apart from he being a green arm, well, he has his shot as governor and is running his second term, you know. But the only other credential he had is that he is one of the G5 in the clique, or in the what do you call that, in the caucus of the Nyesom Wike.
Yes.
You know, and if indeed you want to admit or agree that Nyesom Wike is somewhat of a god master, you know, outside saying that Wike may roll out his huge war chest behind him, so that it will be said that even if he cannot get it, somebody in his clique finally had it, you know. But in politics, nobody wants to anoint another person to take the bigger shot or to take the bigger part of the cake. We saw it when, even in the APC, when the chiefs are down, Mr. President put his foot down and told everybody, Emilokan, you know. So whether Wike will also not say Emilokan, or he will want to push a member of his team there. For Peter Obi, we know how he left PDP almost at the dying minute, when it was very clear that he would not have the ticket for the 2023 election, and pitching his tent to, with Labour Party and all the politics that went behind the scene for him to be named the presidential candidate. So I do not see the party coming in at this time to say, okay, let us give it to him. You know, I don't see it. The party as it is today, PDP, has lost so much of grounds, has lost so much of goodwill, do not have the kind of massive support that could guarantee a Peter Obi a win again. So it's better he stays with the Labour, for which there is a standing army, the Obi movement, who can, you know, catalyze into a huge support base for him. Because those people, I believe, will not want to join him in the mad race if he chose to go to Wadata House to go and look or shop for their presidential ticket. The best option in the situation maybe would be for him to stay with his coalition and look at how he could get. So for me, out of those three, I do not see anyone that can give APC and President Bola Ahmed Tinubu any worry at all. In fact, you are just giving him the benefit of being tempted to go and sleep, because it is almost like done that nothing can happen as far as PDP is concerned, especially as far as it is Wike that is determining how PDP is responding to political development in the country as we speak. Nothing can come forth from PDP that will shock anybody. Nothing again. The best of what they could do was what they did in 2023. You know, so it doesn't really bother any Nigerian. It is they that are politicians that will know what they have lost. You know, if they choose to hurt themselves that gravely, I don't take any care if they decide to hurt themselves any further in 2027.
All right, as things unfold, we'll be right here to give you many of the gist as they continue. But away from PDP and their presidential race, the president, Bola Tinubu, has been on his heels, going from country to country, trying to seal deals between Nigeria and other countries. The last time was in the Caribbean, and he was also at the Thick and Nine. And now he is in Brazil trying to secure deals for Nigeria, whereby it will be easy for Nigeria to deal with Brazil. And just yesterday, they signed the BASA agreement, and the BASA is bilateral air service agreements, which is going to make Nigeria fly freely to Brazil. And let's take it from the lead here. It says yesterday's signing of bilateral air service agreement BASA between Nigeria and Brazil has set the stage for the commencement of direct air link between the two countries. As of this morning, the breaking story is that one of our airline, our own airline, will be able to travel from Nigeria to Brazil and from Brazil to Nigeria. This is one of the major breakthroughs, and although many will be questioning why is the president always traveling, yeah, is one of the reasons why the president is always traveling, Mr. Aderibigbe.
Yes, we'll give it to Mr. President using his net worth to attract goodwill for Nigeria. That is what he signed up for. He's our #1 ambassador. The only thing he should be doing, that what he's doing, is to sell that is good in Nigeria to the world. And we are happy that he has gotten again another good one from Brazil. From that country, Latin American nation,
yes,
also a very big country with a very deep roots and tie, yes, with Nigeria.
Yes.
You know, so it will be a good thing, especially for us in Southwest, especially because of our links and roots to Brazil. Yes. To now see that we have a direct link to that country, and especially that we have our own, you know, airline that, yes, can fly that route, so that we stop the drain of our forests going to service that route, but being earned by other national carriers. Now we know that Airpeace can run that route, and so Brazilian airline can also be coming here. It would have been good to have a national carrier do that, so that we know that we earn it as a country. It goes directly to our foreign reserve. It goes into our national treasury. But it's also fair that at least we have a flag carrier, yes, that, you know, that is doing all of that. And of course, we've secured that kind of understanding also with the United Kingdom. Yes. We now can same Airpeace can now fly straight to Heathrow. Yes. And so we are moving on. We are getting the critical nation to buy into what Mr. President Bola Tinubu is selling. You know, the only thing he's allowed to sell for now is the Nigerian project. Yes. And so he's selling it very well, whether on aviation and aerospace, whether in agriculture, whether in security. In all of this is being a master marketer. You know, I don't expect anything less of him. And of course, he has told us That is the only thing that he wants to do. You know, he signed up for it, and he asked us not to even pity him doing it. You know, so it's good that he's doing it well. As these ones are coming in, let the policy makers, and especially those helping to enforce and implement, also provide enabling environment that will make these people to stay in the country and make money. What you see most of the time is that because of inclement economic environment, many of them are almost in a hurry to get out of the country. You know, so let that be more favorable economic climate for them to thrive, and then let us attract more investment. Nigeria is quite huge in terms of population, in terms of opportunities, that there's so much money to make here if you only know where to plug yourself in. And I think Mr. President is doing the very good thing for us, selling Nigeria the way he can, and no country, I say again, no country can afford to ignore a country of 250 million people. That's a huge market in itself. Biggest in Africa in terms of population. And with that population, anything can go. It is just a huge blow for any country that wants to come in here. We have the land mass, we have favorable economic situation, we have huge untapped labor. The only thing left for anybody who wants to come in here is just bring your portfolio and make all the money.
Even as you mentioned, even as you round up, you mentioned about 250 million people, and it only beckons to ask, how does this signage increases the GDP as it? We already know it increases the tourism areas. We know there are Yoruba-speaking people in Brazil, and here Yoruba is one of our official languages in Nigeria. It increases tourism, it increases adventure, but how do this translate into cash, as we will put it, to the Nigerian pocket?
Well, all of those that you mentioned, all of those sectors you mentioned, could generate the first and the second levels of employment. You know, there will be those that will be directly employed, you know, by these investors as they come into the country. There are those on the secondary belt of it, the vendors, the bead makers, the tent makers, the food vendors, you know, the sandals, the shoes maker, the garment makers. All of these will be, even hair making, you know, all of these will be the secondary employment that could come up. Even transportation, you understand. The drivers, whether on the waterway or on the road, by rail. So it's a huge basket, you know, and that's exactly what the government ought to actually be doing. Just facilitate that these investors come into the country and provide an enabling environment for them to thrive. Once you do that, they will key into what is already available. The newspapers also will begin to thrive again. Adverts will be streaming in, you know. And so every sector will feel if the economy is bubbling again, you know. And I think that's where we ought to head, so that we stop the blame game regarding the issue of subsidy removal, currency rebasing, economic rebasing, and all of that. Let us see, and I think it is high time now for the government to begin to let Nigerians to see the fruits of all of these reforms. If it cannot translate to naira and kobo in your pocket, it is still a distant thing. You know, the shortest route to it is for anybody who want to move from A to B at their convenience, for anybody to be able to at night without bothering where will the money to fund it will come. or to just have a good life. You know, what Nigerians are asking for is for the government to provide the basic necessities of life, so that they will be able to say, at least for this lifetime, they are proud to be a Nigerian. I doubt whether old or young generation, you will have Nigerians that will indeed be proud to say, I am a Nigerian. Maybe like Mr. Femi Falana's son said the other time, there are those enjoying, there are those suffering. But we need to bridge that gap and ensure that all Nigerians are able to smile, because that is what the mandate they give, that is what